If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
Hello folks, Larry here, and welcome to another wild, crazy, cool, dynamite night. Yes, I'm still alive and I'm popping out the pens. And today, my main man, the rock and roller of all rollers, the Italiano, Mr. Tony himself, is going to share with you, my friends, his three favorite pens. But I think he's going to put the ant to me because you know how Tony is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tony's
welcome to the show. It's all yours, baby. Take it away.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. I got to tell you, I appreciate you thinking I'm going to put the ant to you. But honestly, I want to thank you for inviting me to this to do this. I know you asked me about this a while back, and I said, yeah, I want to join in on the fun because you've had some of my good friends, Justin and Dan, and some others showing their top pens, and I enjoyed their demonstrations a lot. I think you did a great thing, and I'm glad you taken this on. I just want to start off really by saying that in the end, all these pens do exactly the same thing. There's no difference when it comes to looking at ink on paper. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, put ink on paper. So to say one pen's better than the next pen, it is personal choice, and I think we agree on that. They ultimately are going to put ink on paper if they work right. And so to say that these pens are better than the other pens, I can't do that. But these are ones that have special meaning, or that really make me feel good when I write with them. And I think you'll agree, Larry, that every pen has its own character, even though the same may be shaped similarly, or they may look a little bit the same. Ultimately, when they're in your hand, and everyone's hand's different, so a same pen could be different to two different people, because it's just how you feel about holding that instrument and writing with it. And just before we get into the top three, I got to tell, I've shared this story many, many times, but what got me into fountain pens was I thought I was going to try to improve my handwriting. So, I watched a video online about using fountain pens and thought, well, I guess I'll just try to get one. And since I had a Mont Blanc ballpoint with the broad tip on it, I decided to try a broad fountain pen nib just to see if it would write the same. So I bought this. This is not on my top three, but it's important to me. This is a little, Kaweco Sport. I bought it, and obviously it's just a kind of an inexpensive pen in today's world. If you want, I don't know how good you can see these things, but I bought it, $24. It arrived in the mail. I went down to the mailbox, got it. It was in like this little box, not any bigger than this, little cardboard box. I pulled it out. I went in the house and said, this damn thing is plastic. And I paid $24 for this. I paid $24 for this. It weighed next to nothing. It didn't even have any kind of, ink in it. And I thought, well, I've got to go buy some freaking ink. So I go to the hobby store, Joann's or Hobby Lobby or one of those places. I said, told the gal behind the counter, I need some ink for my pen, fountain pen. She goes, aisle 24. So I go to aisle 24. Sure enough, there's ink cartridges everywhere. I just pick up that one. I like that black ink right there. This little cartridge that says calligraphy ink. Great, I'll get that. So I get that calligraphy ink, and I put that cartridge in. I took it home, and I started writing. Well, it was writing okay, and all of a sudden, it stopped writing. And then I watched the second video that said what not to do with your fountain pens, and I, in effect, ruined and destroyed that pen. Well, since that time, they clog it up because it's
right.
So since that time, I've taken it apart and cleaned it and tried it and over and over and tried, did everything I could. And I've tried again today. I stuck more ink in it just to see if I could get it to work finally. And that's what got me, but it didn't deter me. I bought some gin house. I bought some inexpensive pens because and everything that shined on the reviewers. I watched you, I watched Matt Armstrong, I watched, Stephen Brown. I watched them all. And every time there was a shiny new pen, I got to get it. I got to get that. I got to get that. And I would start buying up these pens. So I was an accumulator, bought a whole bunch of pens. And, and some of them I liked more than others, but really it took a while before I got to a point where I said, oh, this is the pen. And my very first pen that I thought, well, I'm in heaven now, was a Visconti Divina. And it was a beautiful, it's not one of my top three. And by the way, none of my top three pens are inked up at the moment. So just to go, ironically enough, because I've only got, bazillion pens and I got to rotate them. But, I decided that what it was important to me was how I felt when I was writing with these pens. I enjoyed writing. I've always loved to write. And, when it comes down to it, the important thing is to have a writing instrument in your hand. So I decided when I was going through my pens, trying to decide which ones were my top three, it was very difficult. And to be frank with you, I couldn't come up with just three. So what I did was I kind of went a different route. I went into brands because, and I'll show you this, but this pen right here was one that I thought, what do when I'm handwriting with a pen, what pen does my handwriting look best at? Because every nib, as you well know, they're all different. There are springy nibs, there are stiff nibs, there are nibs that have a lot of flex to them. I don't do any flex writing whatsoever, as you well know, with my fountain pens. But I've come to the conclusion that the pen that my handwriting looks best with is this pen here. And this is one of the top three. This is this is a Platinum 3776. It's a beautiful, they're a great little pen.
Right.
And for the money, I guess if you buy it on the Japanese market, you can get them for under $100 with a gold nib in it. The thing about these pens, and I always post my pens unless it's just unpostable, is that these little nibs right there, as you can see, it's a wide nib, and it's flat and it's stiff. It's a stiff nib. And I think everybody that knows about platinum nibs, the Namiki and platinum nibs, they are stiff nibs. They don't allow a lot of flexy bouncy to them. My handwriting looks the best when I write with this because I seem to have more control over this pen. It's almost like writing with a pencil. So if you've ever written with a pencil, sometimes your handwriting looks really nice. This is this pen, and I got this with this, and any of the models. This is a chartreuse blue, which is beautiful. You can see that blue in there, and then red. And I've got a bunch of the models that are the like this is one I'm writing with now. It's the it's the Shiun, the purple model. So those 3776s, I just showed you three of them, but any of them would work as being one of my favorite top three pens. So that's kind of how this is going to roll. I can't say that this one's my favorite over that one or my favorite over, it's just, I can't do that because they're all really three. They're going to all write about the same because of that nib. So that's my first top three pens. Okay. The next level is, I went up when I first got into these fountain pens, I was buying a bunch of, the Jinhao, the Monteverde, because they were affordable. And at that time, I thought very expensive pens. I thought $40 for a fountain pen. I can't believe $50. Oh my God. Then I get up to $80. And eventually I got into a point where I was addicted, just like a heroin addict, and said, I got to have another hit. So I ended up going to the next level. And so the next level for me, and this is, if you said, hey, you got to get rid of all your fountain pens, you got to keep just a couple of them. This brand right here is the brand. This is a Visconti. You can tell by the clip. This is a watermark. The watermark is a pen that it takes a whole bunch of processes to make it. They go through a lot of different things, and And you can see this is a palladium nib. They're kind of famous for the palladium nibs at the time. Now they're back to the gold nibs. But it is a fantastic pen. It's weighted just perfectly. This is not specifically my second favorite pen, but it's the brand. And I want to bring up a point about this brand. I just love it. I love it when I hear people bitch about Visconti, and they complain about Visconti. They're pretty pens. They don't write worth a crap. They don't this. They have quality control. I do have more Visconti than any other manufactured pen that I've got. I mean, I have more of them. And I don't have a lick of problem with any of them. Not once have I ever had a problem with flow, with anything. Maybe I'm just the lucky one in the world that didn't have any problems, but
Same here.
I love
Same
them
here.
all. And if anyone wants to get rid of their Visconti and they feel like they're just crap, give me a call. I'll take them off your hand.
Call me first.
So that being said, this Visconti has special meaning to me, because you asked me about special, why pens are on my list. This pen is on my list. This is the Visconti Daedalus. As you can see, it's an overlay pen, and it's got a bull right there. You can see the bull. The Visconti Daedalus was a Greek mythological figure. He was the father of another Greek guy called Icarus, real famous Greek mythological character. And he was like an architect and a statesman, and he was a craftsman, and he designed stuff, and he designed this bull. That was why the bull on there, the wooden bull. And this is just a fabulous pen. But really, the reason why it's special to me, and I'll tell you, you can see it's got a beautiful resin underlay with the sparkles in it, like they made I think the Opera Master Luna. You can see some of that sparkle there. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful pen. Why this pen is important to me is not because it's a fancy pen and it's all designed like that. It's because when about a couple years ago, I took a trip to New York City with my two of my sons, and we went up there, and my sons were nice enough to allow me to go to Fountain Pen Hospital. So we go to Fountain Pen Hospital, and we're just, we're walking around, looking around, and checking it all out. And of course, I'm like, I just want to stay here all day, but I said, let's just look around and then we'll leave. I wasn't planning on buying anything. And my kids said, Dad, you've got to buy something. And so I'm looking in the case, and they had this in the case, and it was in the case. It was marked down for quite a bit, maybe like 30-40%. And it was still a lot of money. I mean, it was extreme. It was an expensive pen. And I said, I don't want to, I can't do it, Dad. So they kind of forced me to want to buy this pen. But why it's important to me is that trip was so special to be able to spend with my two sons in New York City. We went to see Gino Vanelli in concert. We got to eat. It was a great weekend for us to be up there. And every time I pick up this pen, I think about our trip and how fun it was to be with my boys there. And so it was a great time. So this is really the pen, although any Visconti can go in that second level of pens. And so that being said, the next pen I've got here is the pen. There's only one pen, and it's this one right here. This is the classic pen LB5.
Okay.
This is the classic pen LB5 made by Andy Lambro. Well, he didn't make it, but it's his company, Lambro Pens and Classic Pens LB5. This pen is made on the it's based on the Sailor King of Pen. It is based on the Sailor King of Pen, so it may resemble a King of Pen. It's just a bit longer, but it is beautiful. You can see the different shades in there because it's diffused bonded acrylic. So it is stacked and diffused is bonded that way. It's a special acrylic made in Italy. They made about 7 different colors of this. This is called the Tairuku or something like Tairiku, whatever. It's supposed to represent continents. This happens to be a grail pen for a lot of people. They're out there. So it's got the King of Pen. There you go. It's got the King of Pen, a 21 karat gold nib on it. This is actually interchangeable with the King of Pen. If I were to take this section out and put it on a King of Pen, it would fit. So it's just perfect in every way. They only made 10 or 50 of each color, and there's 7 colors. So you do the math there, 350 pens like this. This one happens to be an artist proof, so it's a 0 out of 50. It was not one of the numbered ones. It's numbered, but it's 0 out of 50. I was able to pick it up through Mario Campa from Toys in the Attic. He was able to get it for me through Andy. It's a great pen. You see some of the reviews by, all some of the guys, pen reviewers, that say this is one of the best pens, and it is absolutely spectacular. That's why it is at the top of my list. And I ultimately, if I had to dispose of all of the pens I've got, that one probably would stay with me and they're so hard to find right now, and they're outrageously priced. Actually, they're priced too much for what they are, that people are kind of are paying stupid money for them. They were expensive to begin with. I got mine at a real good price now. I look back at it, but it's gone kind of high. So that was a top. Go ahead, Larry.
Can I ask you, why is this pen so amazing, so great? I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out.
What
it has? What makes it?
What
so
makes it different?
What?
It is. I don't know. It has to do with that. With the makeup of this acrylic. This resin is just absolutely beautiful. It's got a depth of in it, as you can see.
Yeah.
And it just feels great. It's well balanced. It's like a King of Pen, but it's a King of Pen on steroids. I don't know how to explain it. And of course, the King of Pen, the Sailor nib, is going to write wonderfully. So that as far as the nib is concerned, you can write with the King of Pen. It's going to have the same experience as this. But it's got the gold trim on it, and it's just absolutely beautiful. This is an amethyst color, if you can't tell on the okay. So that really, I'll tell you what, Larry, if you get a chance to write with one, you'll understand. It really, again, in the end, I can write with this, or I can write with this, and you look at on the paper, you're not gonna know which pen wrote. Okay, right. You can't tell, but there's a big difference when you're writing. Now, top 3, you got honorable mention. Okay, I got honorable mention. You gave me honorable mention. You didn't say how many honorable mentions.
Yes, sir.
This should be in my top 3, but I couldn't fit it because there's already 3 ahead of it. This is not, again, the brand, not so much this pen, although this pen is probably one of my favorites. As a young child growing up, I loved to read. Always loved to read. And when I got into fountain pens, I said, I noticed that Mont Blanc has this writer's edition. Okay. So I checked out and I said, well, that's kind of neat, because this is one of my favorites. Mark Twain, read his books as a young child. The Mark Twain, I just got hooked on all of the writers editions, because I've always appreciated these writers, the Hemingway, the Agatha Christie's, all of them. So now I've got an unfortunate addiction to these writers editions on Mont Blanc. But this pen right here and all of the Mont Blanc writers edition are just absolutely fabulous. It's hard to tell what's on that nib with my unfortunate lighting, but there's they all have so many characteristics for the author. Like this is the paddle wheel, for the steamboat, and then the waves of the river are right there all throughout the thing. So there's a lot of symbolism in all of their pens. So any of the Mont Blanc writers editions is my honorable mention. I really wanted to squeeze into the top 3, but I couldn't manage to kick out the other ones. And my last honorable mention is this. I say these, not this. This is Atelier Lusso. That's Eric Sand. He's a bespoke, he's one of the small pen makers that we have many of. This beautiful craftsmanship. You can hardly tell that this has got a oh goodness, I can't quite get it right. I apologize, but it's got like a dragon scale on it. And he made this one for me specifically. I wanted Damascus steel, so he put Damascus steel, and he put this Damascus steel band. It's just a beautiful pen. Here's one from Ryan Krusak, which I've shown before. Ryan Krusak did this. He's a pen maker. He deals with a lot of wood and some other special materials. The reason I show these two pens is because we've looked at Mont Blanc, Visconti, Platinum. Those are big manufacturer of pens. I put these in there because there were so many individual pen makers, Jim Hines, all of these other small pen makers. You've been kind enough to show Jim on there.
Yeah,
and
Mike Green.
Mike Green. Yeah, there's so many small, wonderful pen makers, and I wanted to show these because there is so much. These are incredible because these were done by hand. These were done by them specifically according to my specifications and what I wanted. And so I wanted to make sure and honor those guys that are doing that in this top 3 list. They weren't in my top 3, but they are definitely, I use them and I love them all. And they deserve to be mentioned to give my shout out to them. So, you know, I appreciate you asking me about my top 3, and I'm sorry I don't have, you know, writing samples, but none of them are inked up because I've got about 27 others that are inked up.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you know, I think that my whole thing is that, and by the way, I don't want anyone to feel like that I'm you know, that I'm only dealing with high-end pens, because among my inked ups is this Platinum Curidas,
yeah,
and this Twisby. So you know, I write with all of them, not just expensive pens, and because ultimately they have to put ink on paper. It doesn't matter if it's a cheap Lamy or if it's an expensive Mont Blanc. It doesn't matter. But I just choose to write with some nice ones that, you know, I feel like I'm treating myself because I don't have any other hobbies or vices in my life. So, you know, I figure I treat myself. Life is short. You know, if you're able to do it, go for it. So that's kind of how I look about the fountain pens, and I enjoy them. And you know, I'm glad I was able to share these. It was hard. I'm serious. It was hard to come up with these pens.
Yeah, very hard. Yeah. Well, then, Tony, I guess that wraps it up.
I think so. If I talk too much, I'm sure I have.
No, you got away with it, though, didn't you? I know you're going to do it, but that's okay, my friend. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. All right, Tony. Well, that's going to do you for tonight until our next up. God bless. Take care, my friend, and thank you. All right.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, buddy. Take care, everybody.
Bye.